Welcome to Inside New Albany Football with Coach Cody Stubblefield. I'm Jody Walls.
I'm Brady Brock.
We're with Gumtree Mortgage here in New Albany over on Starling Avenue. We specialize in home financing needs, whether it's a purchase, a refinance, or a new construction.
And we're super passionate about trying to help you find the home of your dreams, help you get it financed, just like this one right here.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Come out, hit them in the mouth from the first play, we're going to be fine.
Welcome to Inside New Albany High School Football with Coach Cody Stubblefield and Mr. Paul Henry. This is the Itawamba Week. Welcome, and the show today is sponsored. The site sponsor is State Farm Insurance, Mr. Wally Morgan, and the show sponsor is Gumtree Mortgage, Mr.
That's Jody Walls and Brady Brock. You know those two guys right down the road here from Wally Morgan's place. All the group collectively does a great job supporting us year in and year out.
That's right. So we want to thank our sponsors. Mr. Henry, you can't do it without your sponsors, can't you?
No doubt. No doubt. We had tremendous support here in New Albany, and we appreciate them so much.
That's right. So let's talk about last week's game. Last week we played East Union, week 1. Coach, tell us about it.
Yeah, got off to a good start. I think we're playing East Union, a smaller school, but a school that's had a lot of success lately. Coached by Brandon Cherry, they do a really good job out there. I think the game was 52-6. This was the final. I think the big thing was we controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. Offensive line played really well. Defensive line played well, got after it. Montavio Sullivan on the defensive front gave the center trouble all night. Led to some turnovers, some bad snaps and whatnot. Just a really dominant game up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Well, they always say if you win the game in the trenches, right? I think we pretty much, our guys took care of business up front and kind of opened up some holes for them running backs and everybody to kind of go off, didn't they?
Yeah, we've got 3 running backs that you'll see a good bit. Cody Atkinson is the first one, did a really good job. Had around 150 yards, I think 4 TDs. Keelan Simpson got in, had some big runs. Some of them got called back. Was a little disappointed in the yardage because he had some penalties. And then late in the game, we got to see some other guys, and Zion Robinson, number 6, is a sophomore, that had about 80 yards on about 3 or 4 carries and did a really good job.
Yeah, I was so impressed with how hard the backs ran last week. They hit the holes hard and, just ran extremely hard, and even after contact, just kept moving and broke free a couple times after contact too.
Yeah, there was a lot of yards after contact. Those guys, a couple of really, really good runs where Cody's breaking tackles, getting through there. Cody does a tremendous job running hard. Then Keelan Simpson's a bigger body. Keelan's about 200 pounds. He's a load to bring down, but both those guys do a really good job running the football.
Yeah, I was impressed with a lot of things that I saw. I was impressed with Braden. Thought he did a good job throwing the ball. Obviously, the line protected him well. But even some of the deep balls that he threw were balls that were caught in traffic that were nice catches.
Yeah, we're making an assertive effort to throw the ball more. A lot of practice time is spent on routes on air and pass scale and different things because Braden is able to do those things. We've got some receivers that can catch the ball. They do a good job. So that's something you're going to see hopefully more as the year goes on. Braden feeling more comfortable, that completion percentage going up and up. But for the most part, he played well. It was his first, full game as a varsity quarterback. But excited about what he can do, excited about what those receivers can do. Another big aspect of the game that was huge improvement was the kicking game. We started the game a little slow on offense and stalled after a big turnover. Sending the kicker out there to start the season off with a 42-yard field goal, and Whit Robbins nailed it. And then we've got our 8th grader, Grayson Alexander, and they interchange on extra points. Both of them collectively we're 100% on field goal and extra points. So big night.
Can't beat that. Can't beat that.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, now Whit played early in his career and then come back this year. So it's the first time he's been on the field in a while, though, right?
Yeah. Whit played earlier. His brother was a high school football player at New Albany. Whit's got a lot going on. He's in band. He's in soccer. He's in the theater program. He's on the golf team. So we're kind of a little bit flexible with those kickers, those specialty people, so they can still be a part of the football program. But clearly he's going to be a big asset to us. I did a great job kicking off. We try to put him right there on the numbers every time. I think out of 7 or 8, he missed one towards the middle. Now that doesn't mean we covered it well. We've got to make some corrections there, but the kicking part of it was really good, and it was funny to see him get out there, try to make a couple tackles on some of those too. He wasn't scared. He was getting in there.
That's right.
Well, and then you got Grayson there, put his first points on the board as an 8th grader. That's kind of a rare thing, to have 8th graders stepping up and playing in varsity games.
At practice yesterday doing the walkthrough, we backed them up to a 49-yard field goal. Whit hit his, and Grayson missed it by, maybe 2 yards.
In 8th grade.
And he's an 8th grader. He's 13 years old. So we're excited about both those guys and what they're going to be, Whit through this year and then Grayson long term.
That's right. So then on the defensive side, your defensive line to me looked like they were really disruptive.
Yeah, couldn't brag about the defense enough. They scored late in the game, but we really shut them out most of the time up front. We've got a good mix of experience with Montavio Sullivan. Talked about him earlier, really being dominant at that nose position, giving them trouble. But the other 2 ends, one of them's a 9th grader, Emmanuel Tucker, a big boy, and the other one is Jaden Hicks. So those are 2 young players that are we hope can be dominant forces on the defense. Behind them at linebacker, we started a 9th grader and Parker Skinner. That's another young guy that's going to contribute to the defense for a long time. And then we get into the secondary. DJ Robinson's a sophomore. Jeb Bowen played a lot in the secondary as a sophomore. So, we also got back Cortland Earl had been out for a while, had broke his wrist in 7-on-7. He got cleared Thursday, he suited up Friday and played. So defensively, they played extremely well. That core guys led by Darrell Boland and some of those guys in the secondary, they do a really, really good job. Defense played extremely well. Yeah,
with injuries, having Cortland back out there, that's a big asset, getting him back out there on the field,
Yeah, he's one of our leaders. Cortland is not all that vocal all the time, but he leads by example. He does exactly what you ask him to do. He gives it everything he's got on the field when he's out there. He's one of those guys that are a real pleasure to coach and just does a tremendous job for us.
You can't beat that.
Yeah, he's a big part of the defense for sure, and you'll also see him on offense at receiver too. So he's on just about every special team. He's a big part of the team.
Go ahead.
He's also about 6'3", about 200 pounds. He's a good-looking kid, right?
He's one of our big boys. He's about 6'2", 6'3", and about 190 or so. So more of a physical kid that's there in the secondary. You've got DJ, who is a stud for us that calls defenses out. We go through the board in the field house, and he's sitting there calling every one of them out. We're covered. This is the coverage. This is the blitz. Whatever the case may be. Does a tremendous job. But DJ, 5'8", and he's scrapping. He gets after, and he's the first one to come up make a tackle. But then on the other side, you've got that 6'2", 6'3" kid. So they both do a really good job at safety. They just don't look exactly the same.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I know how it is. First game of the season, you really don't know what you've got yet, and you're a little nervous. And they're in practice. You even see in the NFL, they're getting in fights in practice because they're tired of going against each other, right? And so then you get that first game, and the kids get a little bit of success. What was the environment in the locker room afterwards?
Well, they were pleased. We went into halftime really thinking we had left some stuff out there. Just kind of got on them. We were a little lackadaisical at times, felt like, but they really honed in and played well. Everybody was pleased following the game. That's a game we go into it expecting to win, but you never know how it's going to go, how you're going to play. And I think for us to dominate on both sides of the ball so well, we were all excited about that. That being said, this next week is going to be a true test with us for Itawamba because that's going to kind of really mark where we're going to stack up.
That's right. Well, speaking of Itawamba, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, Coach will give us a preview of this week's opponent, the Itawamba Indians. Stay with us.
Call State Farm agent Wally Morgan at 662-539-7062 today.
Well, welcome back to Inside New Albany High School Football with Coach Cody Stubblefield and Mr. Paul Henry. So, Coach, tell us about the Itawamba Indians, and let's start first on the offensive side, and if you can just walk through each position and tell us what we would expect to see at the game on Friday night.
Yeah, Itawamba's a great program in 4A. Clint Hoots does a tremendous job. Clint's been there, I don't know, close to a decade. It's been a long time since New Albany's beaten Itawamba, so it's something we're looking forward to and excited about the opportunity to do that. We've been close. Just hadn't sealed the deal. But offensively, they're going to start and stop with a guy named Isaac Smith. Isaac is number 2. He's got SEC offers from Notre Dame. He's a tremendous talent. He's a dandy dozen player. Depending on where you look, he's either the top or the second ranked player in the state of Mississippi. So a really, really talented young man. So we're going to know where he's at all week. We've had one of our young men in a number 2 jersey trying to locate where he's at on the field because they move him around. You got a guy like that, you're trying to get him the ball, right? So he'll line up at running back. He'll be a receiver. He'll take a direct snap from time to time. So it starts and stops with him. But around him, number 1 is another tremendous receiver that does a really good job. Their quarterback has several offers and is a big kid, number 7, with a strong arm that runs and manages the offense really effectively. Up front, they're big, both tackles. The left tackle is about 6'6", 270, 280. He's got offers from Ole Miss and State. He's a junior, a really, really good offensive line. The right tackle is another big boy that's a huge size. And then in the middle, they're a little bit smaller, but they're physical. So up front, they're a good football team. So, again, this week, just like last week, we've got to find a way to control that line of scrimmage and locate number 2 consistently.
So running the spread, probably a doubles formation.
They're multiple. I mean, they're going to get into the wishbone some. They'll be spread. One of the best things that I think they do is sometimes they're spread and then they'll go too tight and it's the same personnel, so you don't have a whole lot of time to adjust personnel or whatnot. Michael Campbell is a guy that calls the plays for him. He's their OC. Michael was with me and Trent at Tupelo for a little while. He also was a head coach at Smithville, so know Michael really well. But they do a really good job being multiple on offense and moving 2 around and trying to be creative, getting the ball. And again, that's why we're focused this week on locating number 2, knowing where he was going to be at. But again, I go back and say we've got to make sure we corral 2. And then we've got to win the line of scrimmage.
Right.
We know when we mentioned earlier last week we won the war in the trenches, right? Sounds like they've got some pretty big fellas up front that we're going to have some challenges with.
Yeah, if you look out there on the offense's left, Itawamba's left, you're going to see Emmanuel Tucker, our 9th grader, who's 6'5", 280, going up against a junior who's 6'6", 270, 280. Both those kids have bright futures. That's going to be a battle that you can watch all game and see how those guys stack up against each other. So it's kind of a battle of the Titans right there for sure.
That's interesting. The way you describe their offense, I don't envy Trent this week.
Well, that being said, we like our guys also. They're certainly a good football team, but Trent Hammond has time to do the defense. Kendall Murphy, Sean Sanks, Channing Ward. I've got all the confidence in the world in those guys. They put a good plan in week in and week out. They prepare the guys, whether it be lineman assignment or tackling, coverage things. Coach Murphy in the secondary do a tremendous job.
Sure.
So our guys are going to show up too, so they're a good football team, but that's why it's a good measuring stick for us to see where we're at.
That's right. Well, what about them on defense? So when you're with your offensive style, as you attempt to attack them on defense, what are some of the challenges you see?
Yeah, they run a 3-4 defense just like we do. They're probably a little bit tighter to the box than we play, so at times you'll see those outside linebackers really down on the line of scrimmage. They don't always come, but they're always right there present. So when you see us lined up in a spread concept, you may see 7 guys really, really close to the box. And so what that's going to do for us is we're going to try to live on the edge a little bit. We've got to be more successful this week throwing and catching the ball on the perimeter. In the secondary, we think there are times that they get in the bind, even though 2's back there. They've got another safety, that's number 16, that does a really good job. But we do think there are holes in their secondary that we can exploit. And then that being said, we like our offensive line too. So we can make sure we cheat those guys. If those outside linebackers are tight, there's some things we can do to try to get under them. We can loosen them out with our passing game and our alignment. So we're going to kind of try to spread them around and attack where they're weakest.
What do you think? If we can get that air game going, it's going to open up for Keelan and for Cody and them.
Yeah, and from a philosophy standpoint, when we're spread and they're tight in the box, we're going to try to live on the edges, take some shots over there, but spread the ball around. We can also insert a tight end, insert an H-back, and kind of match up with them in the box, and then I think we can run on them also. So, it's kind of we're picking our poison there, what we want to do. I certainly think we have the players and the capability to move the football. Our big keys offensively are penalties and taking care of the football and no turnovers. Anytime you're playing a good team, you can't turn the ball over.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Execution, right? Execute and make the least amount of mistakes, and it's going to be a close game. And it's going to come down to one or two plays, right? That's what it usually comes down to on those close games.
It seemed like last year was a kind of a turnover. There was a theme turnover-wise last year, wasn't there?
Yeah, we played close.
Like the opening kickoff, though, even
late in the game, they pulled away from us. And like I said, anytime you have turnovers, I think last year going into the game they had led the state maybe in turnovers. I know they got a pick 6 on us. So we certainly don't want to turn the ball over. Even more so, we can't let them score points when our offense is on the field.
So what about special teams? Anything of note for them on special teams, or they pretty much do what we would see every week?
Yeah, it goes back to a story of number 2. He's their punter. He's also their returner a lot of times.
Did he drive the bus? Is he going to drive the bus too?
He may. I mean, I'm not sure, but now you'll hear Isaac Smith's name a lot. We certainly got to corral him. Punting when he punts the ball, you've got to be aware that you contain.
Yeah, you're worried if he's going to take off and run.
And then when you're kicking off, if he's got the ball, there's obviously a little bit more. But, we go on and on about him. They've got some good guys around him that can also return the football and do some things. We've got to fly the football when we're on defense or on trying to tackle him. And then wrap up. He's not a guy that you're going to be able to arm tackle. You got to really bring your shoulders, bring your arms, and lock on and get him down and wait on the other buddies to come help you.
Is he a senior?
He is a senior. So,
okay.
They've got a lot of their talent are all older guys. The quarterback's a senior. He's a senior. A couple other guys that are important to him are seniors as well.
Gotcha. Well, thanks so much for the preview, Mr. Henry. Anything else before we let the audience go?
No, sir.
Hey, big thing is, like I said, our journalism class does a great job live streaming the game. They'll do that again this week. You can pick it up, see some of the sponsors that sponsor that. The Chris Russell, that journalism staff. You can also listen to it. It'll be broadcast with those guys, and we'll pipe WNAU staff on it. I think Mr. Henry's going to help with that a little bit this week, so you'll get to hear him again. But Kurt Saul, Keith Conley, those guys do a really good job with that as well.
Yeah, and David Good, I know Mr. Henry's going to be filling in for him, so that'll be exciting.
Yeah, we're very excited that we just need everybody to come out tonight and support our dogs at home.
Absolutely, big game for sure.
That's right. So if you want to find the game online, if you can't be there, I saw Grayson's dad posted the other day on Facebook that he was out of town, a good ways away, and he was thankful to be able to watch it online.
Yeah, I think Grayson's dad is actually in the service, and I think he was on drill out of town.
Gotcha.
Actually missed his boy's first game, but I'm sure he'll be there this week and ready to roll.
When you think about Chris Russell and the journalism staff, Kurt and all them that are piping the audio in, they allow for a person that it wants to be at his son's first game but can't. So appreciate them, but also if you're in town, go watch it in person. What are the gate tickets? I can't remember.
Gate's $6. You'll be there right there.
Best deal in town.
Best deal in town. You can't do anything for $6 anymore. So
that's right. So thanks so much for watching. We want to thank our site sponsor, Wally Morgan State Farm, also Gumtree Mortgage, Mr. Brady Brock and Jody Walls.
Absolutely.
So thanks for being with us, and we'll catch you next time. Go Bulldogs.
Go Dogs.
Wally Morgan State Farm is proud to host Coach Cody Stubblefield's New Albany Bulldog pregame show.
At Wally Morgan State Farm, family is important to us. We think of ourselves as a family and our community as a family, and nothing is more important than nurturing the youth in our community. We are super proud of Coach Stubblefield and all the work he's done for Bulldog football, and we are super excited to support him and the entire team and see what they do this season. Go Dogs!